Okay. Um, oh my God, I'm not even sure where to start. So, uh, this is one of those movies that just, I don't even know. Like, I'm not even sure what to say. Um, just like, oh my God. Okay, I'm removing it from my list only because I've watched it. But, uh, like I'm still reeling from that. That was just a wild ride from beginning to end. One of those movies, I don't think I've seen a movie like this since the original It. Uh, it just messes with your head from beginning to end. Uh, so we start off with this character, Danny, who is trying to get a hold of her sister via, I believe, some sort of messenger. It kind of looks like Facebook. And can't get a hold of her. We start off with this shot of like her. Looks like her parents are asleep, and she's trying to. I'm assuming the sister lives with the parents. That's what we're assuming to begin with. So then, uh, just give me a minute to find my composure. So Christian is her boyfriend. So before we really get into this, let's just go through the list of people who are the main characters in this movie. So we have Danny, played by Florence Pugh, Christian, played by Jack Rayner, Peely, played by Wilhelm Blobgren, Josh, played by William Jackson Harper, who was also Chidi in The Good Place. We have Mark, who was played by William Poulter, Connie, who was played by Alora Torchia, and Simon, who was played by Archie Madquay, I believe is how you pronounce that name. So, uh, so this movie starts off bad. It's not bad in like a bad way. Bad in a, psychological. This is definitely a psychological thriller, to put it lightly. So, we get into this it's kind of like a broken relationship from the beginning between Danny and Christian. So Christian wants out of the relationship, and obviously his buddies kind of feel the same way, that he's been trapped for the better part of a year. They kind of feel like Danny's just dragging him into certain things, and he can't get out of it. Whoops. Peely is going to take them to this place called Midsommer, which is a retreat, but also he has family there. Yeah, I'm just so messed up from this movie. Like I can't even believe what I just witnessed. So at first, Christian doesn't even mention it to Danny that he's going to go to Sweden to visit this place with his buddies. It's kind of like, I guess, a guy's retreat. So Peely is. See, I had a bad feeling about him right from the apartment scene when Danny finally says, "Yes, I'm going to go on this trip." Just the weird, creepy smile right from the apartment. I was like, this guy's up to something. Like, he's literally going to willingly sacrifice all of his friends I just had that feeling. I just had that feeling. I don't know why. I just got that feeling that that was what was going to happen. Now, I had no idea where this movie was going to go. I didn't know. So, I guess they have some sort of like Viking background, his family. Now, I don't know much about Swedish culture, I suppose. I know like Nordic and stuff had a very huge Viking background as far as that goes, but I don't know if the Swedes were big into the Viking thing or not. Oh, and if I haven't said what we're reviewing today, it is the movie Midsommer, just so everybody knows, before we get too far into this. So, I guess Christian and Danny kind of connect on this trip a little bit, and then one of the girls at the Midsommer place takes a liking to Christian. Things start to get really weird. I mean, right from the get-go. Like, I notice little things. So, this is one of those movies where you really have to pay attention to everything that's going on in the background. And they did a really good job of messing with your head right from the get-go. So, still getting chills. There were scenes in this movie where every scene, people were frozen in the background literally until the camera got onto them. And then they would start to move. It didn't seem to matter what kind of action they were doing. That was the only time they ever moved. So when they first get there, they take shrooms. Danny has a really bad trip. She goes into the bathroom and she sees something behind her in the mirror. And I'm not sure what it was, whether it was like a flash image of her sister or something. So her sister commits suicide at the beginning of the movie. So Danny's already having issues psychologically. She has a psychiatrist for it, and Christian's friends want him to get out of the relationship because he hasn't been happy. Then that happens. She commits suicide. She's obviously living with the parents. She connected a hose from both cars in the garage, turned them on, put one hose in her mouth, and duct taped her parents' doors shut, and put the other two hoses into the parents' bedroom. So it was like a murder-suicide. So now Danny's left all alone with literally nobody. So she's already pretty broken by the time they even get to this Midsommer place. And Peely was really hoping for her to go. He wanted her to go the most. Oh, which is just so messed up after the rest of this movie happens. So, the first person to go missing is Connie's boyfriend, Simon. So one of the villagers comes up to her. They're already getting ready to leave, because by this point, Peely has told them about the different walks of life in this community. So from like age such and such and such and such, you do this certain thing, and then this certain thing, and then at age 72, you die. And Danny kind of laughs in the beginning until two of the elders sacrifice themselves during this special ceremony. And that's when things take a wicked twist, because they're all kind of frozen, and Simon and Connie automatically react. They're like, we gotta get out of here. This isn't right. What are we doing here? Like, so one of the villagers tells Connie that Simon has left. And I was like, that doesn't seem right. Something tells me that Simon is dead. And they've probably killed him. Which, turns out I was right about. So even in one of the scenes when Christian decides after Peely tells her about Danny's birthday, he had forgotten. So he wishes her happy birthday. They're kind of walking out of this barn type area where they're all sleeping. And these people aren't moving. They don't move. They have this baby in their arms. They don't move until they're on camera. And they start swaying back and forth. And it's still giving me chills, even now. So basically, these people in Midsommer are completely brainwashing Christian and Danny from the very beginning. Because they even say at one point that most of the relationships are, I don't know what other way to put this, but incest. The relationships in the Midsommer are incest. So they bring in outside people to I guess procreate. So I guess that's where Christian comes in, because none of the other people seemed to have any part in that. Because Josh, who was played by William Jackson Harper, is doing his thesis on this Midsommer group. But also, he's doing his thesis on, I guess, this, like, how do I put it? On these people. So he's going to different places around the world to find, I suppose, different ancestral tribes, I suppose, is the best way to put it. I'm not really sure what they would call themselves, but anyhow. So first, Simon goes missing. Then Connie goes missing. Then there's a person who takes interest in Mark. He goes missing. And then Josh starts to get suspicious of what's happening, obviously. You can see him kind of mentally breaking down. And he breaks into the, I don't know, temple, I guess, where they kind of keep all the books. And he's taking pictures. And then Mark's behind him all of a sudden. And I don't know what had happened to Mark. Like, what they had done to him. But it was terrifying. Somebody hits Josh in the back of the head with a hammer, and Mark is just standing over him with like this weird blank white face and bloodshot possessed eyes and just breathing heavily. It was one of the most probably terrifying scenes of the movie. So I'm not even sure what happened to him. So by this point we know that Mark is dead, Connie's dead, Simon's dead, Josh is dead. The only three people alive left out of this group are Peely, Christian, and Danny. And so they're kind of working their way on Danny, because near the beginning of the movie, when they first get into like the outskirts of Midsommer, they take shrooms. And I think I said this, but Danny has a really bad trip. The rest of them seem to be okay. They get into Midsommer, and it kind of seems like everything's just really strange. Even the way they eat dinner, they wait for certain people to move, sit down. Everything's so particular. They start taking Danny in, getting her in with, like, the tribe, I guess, is how I would describe it. Or I guess they start to, like, get her into the culture of things. I don't really know how to describe it exactly, but it's just very weird. They're trying to get her into the swing of just the normalcy of what they're doing, I suppose. So they get her into, like, the cooking side of things. Competition-wise, she ends up winning, so they make her queen. By this time, they've drugged Christian to the point where he can't even comprehend what he's doing till afterwards, he ends up having sex with this girl that's been after him the entire time and impregnating her. And I don't know how fast it happens. I don't know what kind of ritual they've done on him. But when he finally comes to, he finds Josh's foot in the garden. And when they're sitting down at the table, you can just see the flies surrounding one of the plates. And I was literally trying not to throw up at this point, because it's just like they're literally eating their friends. And now that you're realizing that, you realize they've been doing that the entire movie. As they go along, they've literally eaten probably Simon, probably part of Connie, probably part of Josh. I don't know exactly what happened to Mark. By the end of the movie, Christian is paralyzed. And then they put them all in this temple that Peely told them never to go into. And half of Simon's body is there, half of Connie's body is there. They place Mark, Josh, and Christian in this bear. They literally hollow out the bear and put him in the bear. And then they burn the temple to the ground. And by this point, Danny is so brainwashed because she's seen what Christian was doing with the other woman. So she no longer cares for him. And then she gives this like sadistic type smile at the end of the movie. And it was just like, so weird. I don't know how else to describe it. It was just like, it was almost like she found her calling in a weird way. But it just the brainwashing in this movie was just messed up beyond belief. Like, they just drug them to death until they can't even think for themselves. Until the point where they're like, and even the entire group, when Danny's crying about what she sees with Christian, they're mimicking her. Like, they're mimicking the screams. And when they burned the temple down, there was 2 sacrificial people that were alive, so they're mimicking the pain of the people. It was just chills throughout this entire movie. And for that, and I know I've probably been doing this a lot more lately, but these aren't all going to be in the same month, so it doesn't really matter. I have to give this movie an 11 out of 10. It was just, I like psychological horrors, and this was beyond what I thought it was going to be. It was just so messed up. And they did a good job of keeping you in suspense and trying to connect the pieces. Just some of it just made me actually gag. And I haven't done that to a movie in so long. It was just, you just had to breathe. Like, I had to take a break because this was a long movie. But, oh my God, I can't believe that somebody's friend, knowing what he was going to get them into, would literally take them on that trip. And when they get there, they meet his brother. So Peely meets his brother. He has Connie and Simon with him, right? So they start to blame the Americans for things as it goes along. They sacrifice the 2 elders by jumping from a cliff onto a rock. One of them doesn't end up dying, so they hit him with a hammer. It was just brutal. And then Danny's trying to take sleeping pills to even sleep properly. She ends up having these weird visions about her sister. It was just, there was so much going on in this movie that was just a constant build-up to the very end. And I'm not even sure how much of Danny was there by the end of it. It was just so messed up. But man, it is a thrill ride just an absolute psychological thrill ride from beginning to end. You have to watch this movie. I don't even know if I'm doing my review justice just because of how messed up this movie was. But man, you have to go and watch it for sure. I can't believe I've been talking for 20 minutes about this, but it was just that messed up, man. What they did to these people was just sick, sadistic, insane. And I wasn't sure how far this movie was going to go at any point, but they had literally eaten people because two of the bodies were cut in half. So, and it was just so messed up. Like, you could see pieces of body being buried in the ground to, like, for rituals for, like, the gardens and stuff. So it was just messed up because you knew by a certain point that that's what they were doing. And one of the things that they zoomed in on was like this love ritual thing. And that's literally what the girl did, because Krista's drink was red. So that means that she put a certain part of her bodily fluid into the drink. I'm not even going to get into what it was until you watch the movie. But, just, Jesus. That's all I have to say. This movie was just absolutely a complete, just mind melt from beginning to end. And I can't believe that IMDb only gave it a 7.1, because it is far deserving of the 11 out of 10 that I gave it. Just from the messing with your head from beginning to end. You don't know where they're going to go with it, what they're going to do. And I know Christian and Josh tried to share their thesis together, but they just couldn't. And Peely just did such a good job of dividing the whole group. He just did it right from the beginning to the end. And they had no idea that that's what he was doing. No idea. Right up until the end. By the time Danny even had any idea of what was going on, it was already too late. She was already so brainwashed that it didn't matter. To her, Christian was an enemy by the end of the movie because of what he had done. And they let her see it. So that means that they knew what they were doing right from the beginning. Now, I'm not sure how much of the people they ate, but that would be so disturbing to find out that by the end of the movie, you'd eaten most of your friends. I can't even imagine, because this is like somewhat realistic, like this could happen. And just, the shock value of this movie, just beyond my expectations of what I thought it was going to be. I honestly kind of wish I had have gone to see this in theaters when it came out in 2019, and I'm kind of disappointed that I made myself wait this long to watch it, because, oh my god, just, oh my god. So, I think that's about all I can say about this movie. So as always, like, share, subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts on this film if you've seen it. And if not, you gotta go watch it. If you're a fan of psychological horrors, I have not seen one this good in a very long time. Who was the director on this? Ari Aster. Whoever Ari Aster is, I must watch some of his other films. Okay, so he did Hereditary. Okay, so now I gotta watch that. Because if he did that kind of job on Midsommer, and he was the writer of it too. So director and writer. So he's probably going to become one of my favorite directors now. At least for that kind of movie, because oh my god, That was intense. Just the sadistic smile at the end was enough to make me go, "Wow, they did that much to her that she's actually part of the group now." So I think, yeah, that's literally all I can say about this film. I think I've covered the story as much as I can without giving too much away. And I don't know what else I can say. I'm still like reeling after that film because it was almost 3 hours. Just there was so much to take in. I might even miss some stuff, but anyhow, I did the best I could with just that whole messing with my brain thing. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye for now.